29 straight wins, back-to-back national champions. What's that coming down the track? It's the Mean Machine in the red and black. Ain't nothing finer in the land than a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan. Go Dogs! Go Dogs! Alabama to break.
Theo, you're right. What happened just now? Whoa. What just happened? Unbelievable. Do I have to pick?
Yeah, baby. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Zebulon Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah. And I'm here to give y'all my week 1 college football picks. So without further ado, man, let's get straight into it. All right, y'all. First up, we have our Thursday night game that is set to begin in about an hour. And once I get off of here, y'all, I will be watching this game. But we have the Colorado Buffaloes, taking on North Dakota State. And y'all, obviously, we know Colorado, they have a lot of hype surrounding their program yet again. But this season, y'all, they should be better because they have more depth on their defensive line, and they have a much improved offensive line led by freshman phenom, y'all, Jordan Seaton, who's an All-American 5-star recruit for Coach Prom. So I can't wait to see what he does tonight because he will be starting. But, y'all, North Dakota State is a really solid team. Now, I know North Dakota State probably sounds familiar to a lot of y'all because they had Carson Wentz, a few years ago. And then 3 years ago, they had Trey Lance. And North Dakota State, y'all, they won 17 FCS championships. They won 10 games last season. So do not sleep on this team at all. But, y'all, I think Colorado is going to win this game 41-24 because at the end of the day, while I do think North Dakota State is probably going to hang around in the first half, I just think Colorado has way too much firepower. I mean, they returning Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn on offense, and then they added in, y'all, LaJohntay Webster, former wide receiver for the FAU Owls, and then now they brought in, y'all, Will Sheppard, former wide receiver for the Vanderbilt Commodores, and so they just have a lot of firepower on that offense, and y'all know Shedeur Sanders is one of the best quarterbacks in college football. I think he has a monster day, and I think Colorado wins this game, y'all, in a dominant fashion. All right, next up, y'all, we have our other Thursday night game, and we have Minnesota taking on North Carolina. And this is a North Carolina team, y'all, that is trying to, establish their identity again. Obviously, they lost their former superstar quarterback, Drake May, to the NFL draft, and now they have Max Johnson. Now, y'all, I'm not the biggest fan of Max Johnson, just being honest, but he's probably going to be their starter. Now, I know their head coach, Mac Brown, he came out and said that Max Johnson and Connor Harrell, they will both be splitting playing time. Y'all, if you have to split playing time between your quarterbacks, that means what? You don't have a great quarterback, right? So I don't think North Carolina is going to be a bad team this year, but I just don't think they're going to be particularly great. I think they're going to be probably decent, maybe below average. Again, they won't be just like incredibly bad, but they're not going to be that good either. And then, y'all, flip side things, you look at Minnesota, they have a new quarterback, Max Brosmer, former quarterback, y'all, for New Hampshire. Now, he led the FCS in passing yards last season, but that was the FCS. I want to see what my man Max could do now that he's going against, better competition, going against bigger schools. Can he still have that same success? Y'all, I think this is going to be an old school game. This game is going to be won in the trenches. And I like Minnesota to come away with a 1-point victory, 22-21. I think they're winning, y'all, on the last-second field goal. Now, this is going to be a very boring game to watch for those y'all that love offense. Okay, if you love offense, then watch Colorado, in primetime, Coach Primetime Sanders. But if you love defense, okay, watch this game because, again, it's going to be a low-scoring game. This game will be won in the trenches, y'all. Now, North Carolina, they have a really great running back, Omarion Hampton. He ran for over 1,500 yards last year. And then, y'all, Minnesota also has a really good running back, or I should should say running back duo. Darius Taylor, who last year he averaged 133 yards a game in 6 games, y'all. That's insane. And they also have a really solid backup in Jordan Newman. He had over 500 yards with them last season. So I think really this game comes down to who has the football last. And I think Minnesota will have the football last. Y'all, I don't expect either one of these teams to throw for over 200 yards. Seriously. Now, I can see one of these teams running for over 200 yards. Maybe both of them run for over 200 yards. But I don't see either one of these teams passing for 200 yards. Again, the question marks, they have a quarterback. But I think Minnesota, y'all, their defense, they're at home. I like them to get a 1-point victory. All right, next up, y'all, let's move to our Saturday slate. We have number 8 Penn State taking on West Virginia. And, y'all, this is a very tricky game because even though I have Penn State going to the college football playoff this year, finally, I know that Penn State fans have been waiting to get to the college football playoff. Y'all, this is a very tricky game because West Virginia, we know coming into last season, y'all, their head coach, Neil Brown, he was on a hot seat. And then West Virginia, they end up going 9-4, and he was able to keep his job. But their defense, y'all, was pretty bad last year. And our offense was solid, but their defense was pretty bad. And they're going against a Penn State offense, y'all, that is really, run-heavy centric. They have one of the best running backs in the country, Nick Singleton. They have a really good running back in Krishan Allen, y'all. But I'm still kind of concerned about Penn State quarterback Drew Allen because although he only threw 2 interceptions last year and he threw 25 touchdowns, y'all, he completed less than 60% of his passes, right? And Penn State really did not challenge teams. They did not challenge defenses, I should say, down the field, right? And I still kind of have no question marks about them this season, but they do have a very strong defense, y'all. Watch out for their defensive end tonight, on Saturday, Abdul Carter, y'all. He's one of the best edge rushers in college football. I think he has a pretty big day against West Virginia. But, y'all, I think Penn State, they're going to be able to pull away late into the fourth quarter. I do think this game heading to the fourth quarter is probably going to be like a 3 or 4 point game. But again, y'all, I think Penn State, they just pull out in the end because of their defensive line, because of their running ability, and because, again, West Virginia does not have the best defense, and they really didn't improve it much during the offseason. So I think Penn State comes away with a victory, y'all, 28-20. But it's going to be a very close game. I know a lot of people are going to be surprised by this because I know some people that think Penn State is going to blow West Virginia out of the water. Again, y'all, just don't see that happening because West Virginia is a solid team, particularly offensively. Even though, their quarterback, Garrett Green, he is kind of up and down, but he finished off the season well. But with that being said, y'all, again, I had Penn State winning this game 28-20. All right, next up, y'all, we have probably the game of the day on Saturday. We got number 14 Clemson taking on number 1 overall Georgia, y'all. And Clemson fans, close your ears because what I'm about to say is probably gonna hurt y'all feelings. Y'all, I think Clemson is becoming irrelevant. I think because Dabo Swinney, their head coach, he has refused to use the transfer portal, even though all these other programs, y'all, Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon, Utah, all these elite programs, they're using the transfer portal to their advantage. For whatever reason, y'all, Dabo Swinney, he refuses to use the transfer portal. And because of that, Clemson has really fallen behind. Y'all, Clemson has one of the worst passing attacks in college football. Let me repeat, Clemson has one of the worst passing attacks in college football, especially when you consider just literally, y'all, back in 2019, Clemson won the national championship. And then the next year in 2020, they were in the national championship game again. But ever since then, y'all, they've kind of been irrelevant. Okay, the last year with Trevor and Travis Etienne, yeah, they were good. But, y'all, outside of that, we haven't really worried about Clemson too much because their offense is anemic. Listen, their quarterback, Cade Klubnik, y'all, not the biggest fan of this dude. I will say this, though, he's not in the best situation because Clemson does not have one single dynamic wide receiver on their football team, which is absolutely ridiculous because in 2024, y'all, you got to have dynamic playmakers on your football team. They don't have that. And you look at the Georgia Bulldogs, y'all, if you watch my live stream, tune into my live stream last week, I have Georgia winning the national championship. I just think they're hands down the best team, y'all. And we talk about you got Carson Beck, a quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. You got Trevor Etienne, which is Travis Etienne's younger brother, y'all. A really good running back. And then on defense, y'all, they got my man Malachi Starks, who I think is the best safety in college football. They also have, y'all, Ellis Robinson, who's a 5-star recruit. And really great defensive line led by Mikael Williams. So I really, really, really like Georgia, y'all. I think they're going to dominate Clemson. I have them win this game 38-17. I'm not sure why, some people expect this game to be close. Maybe, the people that expect this game to be close, they're Clemson fans. But I think Georgia's just far and away the better team, y'all. I just don't think Clemson's going to be able to generate enough offense to keep up with Georgia. So I have Georgia dominated Clemson 38-17. Next up, y'all, we have another sneaky good game. We have South Dakota State taking on number 17 Oklahoma State. And y'all really like Oklahoma State this year. I had them making the playoffs. Y'all see the guy in the picture, man, probably the best running back, or maybe the second best running back in the nation, y'all. Ollie Gordon. Man, this dude's a bad boy. He's the best player on Oklahoma State. And isn't it crazy, y'all, in a day and time where you would think, college football, the NFL, you would think that the best player is a quarterback. Well, for Oklahoma State, their best player is their running back, Ollie Gordon, because like I said, y'all, he's a bad boy. He's just so dynamic. He's able to break off tackles. But you look at the South Dakota State team, y'all, that's not too bad, right? I really like South Dakota State because I feel like they play fundamentally sound football. They play as one unit, and I like their defensive front. And when you look at Oklahoma State, y'all, you look at their quarterback, Alan Bowman. We know last year he threw 15 touchdowns, but he also threw 14 interceptions. And so because he's going against a solid defense in South Dakota State, I can see him maybe throwing an interception or two. But y'all, I think the difference in this game is going to be, again, Ollie Gordon just running the ball. And it's going to be extremely hot. Obviously, South Dakota State, they're not used to playing, in extremely warm weather. Y'all think they said that the commentators, the reporters were saying that this game is going to be like in the 90s. I think it's going to be extremely too hot for South Dakota State to handle. And I think Ollie Gordon, y'all, I think he runs for over 200 yards. I have Oklahoma State winning this game 37-21. But this is a sneaky good game. Again, if you got ESPN Plus, I would probably, keep my eyes on this game because South Dakota State is definitely a solid team. Next up, y'all, we have Colorado State taking on number 4 Texas. And obviously, we remember Colorado State from last year after their head coach, Jay Norvell. He made some pretty some pretty rude remarks towards Coach Prime and really towards Coach Prime's mother. And then he tried to take it back after the post game. It's like, dude, we knew what you meant when you said what you said. But nevertheless, y'all, Colorado State, though, I give him credit. They do have, some solid pieces offensively, y'all, particularly at wide receiver. And I really, 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 really love their wide receiver, Torrey Horton. I think he's one of the most underrated wide receivers in the country, y'all. He put up big time numbers last year. I think it was like over 1,200 yards for Colorado State. They also have a pretty solid quarterback in Braden Fowler. But I will say this about Braden, y'all. He's turnover prone. And you're going against a Texas defense that has an incredible defensive front. All those guys have to do, y'all, is pin their ears back, get after him. I can see him throwing 2 or 3 interceptions. Now, I do think Colorado State is going to come out swinging. I can see them, first possession, y'all coming out scoring a touchdown just to kind of let Texas know, hey, we're here. But y'all, at the end of the day, obviously Texas, man, all the weapons that they have, y'all. Quinn Ewers at quarterback. I know a lot of people thought Arch Manning was going to, overtake him as starting quarterback. But Quinn Ewers let him know, hey, Arch, your time is not yet, young gun. But, y'all, I like Texas to win this game 48-20. I think they're going to win this game pretty convincingly. I know some people think this game is going to be a little bit closer, but I don't. Because, again, even though Colorado State, they do have a really good receiver in Torrey Horton. And their quarterback, y'all, he's turnover prone, and that's just not good when you're going against a defensive front like Texas. So I have Texas winning this game 48-20. All right, y'all, next up, we have, and this is probably my favorite game on Saturday. I really wish this was a primetime game, y'all, but we have number 19 Miami taking on Florida. And, yeah, we got a good old rivalry, y'all, good old-fashioned rivalry right here. In Miami versus Florida. Y'all, when you look at Miami, this is the year for them to do it. You talk about their head coach, Mario Cristobal. The first 2 years, y'all have been less than ideal, particularly last year. Y'all remember last year, Miami, they could have potentially started 5-0 on the season. Maybe would have had a shot, to go to the college football playoff. But against Georgia Tech, y'all, for whatever reason, Mario Cristobal, he decides to run the football instead of being smart and taking the knee to win the game. And that really, y'all, was just a domino effect for the rest of their season because they started out 4-0. They ended the season 7-6, okay? So they ended the season 3-6. That's not great at all. And I think it was really because of what happened to them mentally after that Georgia Tech game. But, y'all, this is the year for Miami to do it. They bring in one of the best quarterbacks in college football, my man Cam Ward, former quarterback, y'all, for the Washington State Huskies. And I really, really think, y'all, that Cam Ward is going to be able to lead this Miami team to great things this year. You look at Miami last year, y'all. No disrespect to their quarterback Tyler Van Dyke. He's not the only reason they lost games, but y'all, when you look at Tyler Van Dyke, though, he just doesn't have that it factor the way that Cam Ward does. Like, he just cannot make the throws. He cannot make the plays that Cam Ward can make. And then, y'all, in the backfield, Miami has Damian Martinez. Man, he is just amazing. That dude's like a thumper. And then I think I talked about this last week. Their wide receiver duo, I feel like, is one of the best in the country. They got Xavier Restrepo and Jacoby George, y'all. Xavier Restrepo, he had over 1,000 yards last year. Jacoby George, had over 800 yards, y'all. So when I look at Miami, I think they're going to be, too dynamic for Florida to keep up with. I know, again, this is one of those games that some people think is going to be closer, but y'all look at Florida's weapons. Now, granted, they got Graham Mercer quarterback. He's super accurate. They got Montrell Johnson at running back. I like him. But y'all look at that wide receivers. They're basically unproven. I just don't see how they're going to be able to really keep up with Miami. And y'all, I really don't see how they're going to be able to stop Miami, because we know Florida had one of the worst defenses in the SEC. So I don't know, how Florida really expects themselves to be able to stop Miami. Miami has, again, all these playmakers on their offense, and now a new quarterback in Cam Ward. See, I have Miami winning this game 35-24. Again, this is a game that some people think will be closer. I just don't see it. I got Miami winning by double digits. All right, y'all, next up, we got the night game, and we got number 7 Notre Dame taking on number 20 Texas A&M. And y'all, you look at Texas A&M, and obviously last year was a complete, let me repeat, y'all, last year was a complete and total disaster for Texas A&M. Is they went 5-7, y'all. They fired Jimbo Fisher. Remember, they had literally just signed Jimbo Fisher to that massive deal, gave him that massive contract, and they fired him like a year later. But now they bring in, y'all, Mike Elko. Mike Elko, obviously, he's very familiar with Texas A&M. He was a defensive coordinator when Jimbo Fisher first arrived at A&M back in 2018. And y'all, when I look at Texas A&M, man, they're going to be a nasty defensive unit. I mean, I'm talking about like a ferocious defensive unit. They got so much depth, y'all. It's not even crazy. So much depth on their defensive line. And I really don't think people understand, like, how much a great defensive line can just really, rattle a quarterback, y'all. And the quarterback that they will be facing, ironically enough, y'all, is former Duke quarterback Riley Leonard. Now, if that name sounds familiar to y'all, it's because last year, Mike Elko, obviously he was still the head coach for Duke, and Riley Leonard was his quarterback. So Mike Elko, he knows Riley Leonard's strengths and weaknesses, y'all. And because of that, and also because, y'all, this is the home game for Texas A&M. Y'all know Kyle Field? Kyle Field can absolutely just get rockets, y'all. And I think because of they could get rocking. I think because of that, it's going to be too much for a Notre Dame team that, while, yes, we know Notre Dame has a great, particularly great secondary, but a great defense in total, y'all, with Benjamin Morrison and cornerback. I think he's one of the better corners in college football. But I think, y'all, that their offense does not have enough playmakers to be able to consistently move the football down the field against A&M. And you look at Texas A&M, I'm not the biggest fan of their quarterback, Connor Wigman. I think he's solid. But I think in this game, y'all, solid's going to be good enough, right? Because I don't think Riley Leonard's going to have a really spectacular game. Again, going against his former coach, Mike Elko. Mike Elko knows his strengths and his weaknesses. I think they're going to Texas A&M. Y'all think they're going to use their running back Le'Veon Moss a lot and Amari Daniels. So it's going to be kind of similar to the Minnesota and UNC game, y'all. Very physical, a game that's won in the trenches, won at the line of scrimmage. But I think because Texas A&M, because of that defensive front that they have, and because of that home field advantage they're going to have, y'all, I have Texas A&M winning this game 23-20. I cannot wait to watch this game. I know some of y'all probably like, well, Zay, don't you have Notre Dame going to the college football playoff? Yes, I do. Again, if y'all watched my live stream last week, I do have Notre Dame going to the college football playoff. But, y'all, I do think they're going to lose this game, but win out. I think Notre Dame finishes 11-1, which would be good enough to get them to the college football playoff. But I think they're going to start their season off with a loss, y'all, against A&M. Again, A&M's going to win this game, I think, 23-20. All right, y'all, next up, we got the defending champions, Michigan Wolverines, taking on Fresno State. And obviously, we know Michigan, y'all, underwent some changes this offseason as they lost their head coach, Jim Harbaugh, who decided to go back to the NFL and become the head coach for Los Angeles Chargers. And it's just going to, and obviously also, excuse me, y'all, there's a lot of, controversy going on around this Michigan program. And I don't really have to get into all the details because those y'all that keep over college football, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. But now they have a new head man in charge, Sherrone Moore, y'all, who is the former, OC and O-line coach for Michigan. But even though Michigan has a new head coach, y'all, and basically has a completely new coaching staff, their philosophy is going to remain the same. They're going to run the football. They're going to be very physical. They're going to play really scrappy and aggressive style of defense. And their quarterback is not going to be required to do a lot. And speaking of their quarterback, y'all, they're going to be starting Alex Orji, who has not, had a lot of experience playing college football. They're going against a Fresno State team, y'all, that last year was 9-4, has a pretty solid offense. I think Fresno State, they kind of play like Michigan. They're very physical, very aggressive on defense. But I think Michigan, y'all, because the run game that they have with Donovan Edwards and because their defense led by who I believe is the best corner in football, best corner in football, who I believe, y'all, is the best corner in college football, Will Johnson, I think is going to just overwhelm Fresno State, So I have Michigan winning this game 27-10. Now, I know some people's going to look at that and be like, Zay, you only have Michigan scoring 27 points. Remember, y'all, Michigan last year, against non-Power 5 teams, they only average 32 points per game. So it's not like Michigan is a high-flying offense when they go up against lesser opponents. It's just not the style of football that they play. Again, very aggressive, very physical, control the line of scrimmage. I think they're gonna do that because obviously next week y'all have a big game against Texas. So hey, just get through Fresno State. I don't think Fresno State, really has a chance of upsetting Michigan. But if you're Michigan, you still want to take Fresno State seriously because they are a solid team. All right, next up, y'all, we have our Sunday night game. We have number 23 USC taking on number 13 LSU. And wow, y'all, I mean, last year for USC, a lot of people, including myself, thought USC was going to be in the title conversation. Instead, they end up having, a really, really, really horrible end to their season. They started out 6-0, y'all, and they just really struggled, after that point, including getting dominated by Notre Dame and having, a loss to Arizona. And they don't have Caleb Williams any longer. Now, obviously he's in the NFL, going to be the quarterback for the Chicago Bears. But y'all, one thing we know about Lincoln Riley is no matter who his starting quarterback is, this man's going to produce great offense. He's going to score a lot of points. And now they have, Miller Moss as their quarterback. I actually did a video on Miller Moss, y'all, while I was really excited about the decision. Why I think he's going to have a good year. With that being said, though, y'all, USC, their defense is still a problem, right? We know USC can score. That's not the issue. And they're still going to be able to score even without Caleb Williams. Okay, can they stop people? And they're going against the LSU team. Now, this is going to surprise a lot of people that I have LSU not only winning this game, but scoring the amount of points they have. Because I know a lot of people say, where's Zay? Jaden Daniels is gone. Malik Neighbors is gone. Brian Thomas Jr. is gone. But, y'all, I really trust their quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier. I think he is a very accurate quarterback. I think he has a pretty strong arm. I think he makes timely decisions. And because of that, I think LSU is going to win this game 41-34. Because a lot of people don't think Garrett Nussmeier, y'all, is really that good. I think he is pretty good. And I think he's going to prove it Sunday night against USC. And then you look at LSU's defense, y'all. And even though I really like Miller Moss, I mean, he still is a young guy. He's going against a really good defense. Harold Perkins Jr., he is such a dominant edge rusher, y'all. He's so fast on his first move. And then up the middle, you got Greg Penn, the middle linebacker. And you also got Savion Jones at defensive end. So when I just look at LSU, the defensive front, y'all keep hearing me harp on it. When you're a team that has a really great defensive front, you're able to generate pressure, especially if you're going against a young, inexperienced quarterback. It can really get him off his game. I think that's going to happen again. It's going to be a close game. I have LSU winning 41-34. USC is obviously going to put up their points because they have a plethora of weapons. Zach Branch, y'all, Deuce Robinson, Woody Marks in the backfield. So USC is still going to score their points, but I think in the end, LSU is going to be able to edge them out in the shootout, 41-34. And then, y'all, last but certainly not least, we have our Labor Day game. We have Florida State taking on Boston College. Obviously, y'all, Florida State, they are looking to rebound from an upset loss in Ireland against Georgia Tech, y'all, in a game where Florida State, their offense, their first drive, they looked dominant on the ground. But then after that, they were not able to generate anything else on the ground. And their passing game was pathetic. Let me repeat. Florida State's passing game was pathetic, y'all. And this is why, okay, this is why I warn people about really, picking Florida State to do great things this year. Because, y'all, their quarterback, DJ Uiagalelei, he's just not that guy. I got to be honest. I like him as a runner, but his passing is really, 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 inconsistent a lot of times, y'all. And you cannot have that, right? If you're going to be a really good quarterback on any level, man, you got to be accurate. You got to be able to throw it in anticipation, throw it into voice, y'all. You have to be able to throw it on time. You got to be able to throw it accurately. And these are things that DJ Uiagalelei, I always mispronounce his name, DJ Uiagalelei, these are things that he always has troubles with, y'all. But with that being said, I do think they're going to beat Boston College 30-14. You say, Zay, why? Because Boston College is not that good, right? In Boston College, y'all, they have a new head coach I call him kind of an old friend of mine because I'm a Tennessee Titans fan, and all us Tennessee Titans fans, we remember Bill O'Brien when he was the head coach for the Houston Texans. We will never forget when he did us a favor by trading DeAndre Hopkins out of the AFC South to the Arizona Cardinals, and then back he got David Johnson, and David Johnson did absolutely nothing. So I'm still thankful for Bill O'Brien because he did that, y'all. We didn't have to deal with D-Hop. Now it's kind of funny because D-Hop was on our team. But anyways, y'all, I have Florida State winning this game 30-14. They're going to rebound. They're going to be able to run the football. I mean, DJ, he'll probably play, decently well. But, I still, not that hard Florida State. I think they're going to be a good team because, their defense, I know their defense didn't play well last week, but that wasn't just on their defense. Again, it was their offense, y'all. I mean, literally, like, DJ, I think he averaged like 6 yards a pass. That is horrible. This man was not pushing the ball down the field at all. And even when he did push the ball down the field, he was not very accurate. But luckily, y'all, he's going against a lesser team in Boston College. Again, got a new head coach in Bill O'Brien. So I have Florida State getting it done 30-14. So there y'all have it, man. That was my week 1 college football picks, man. Yeah. Y'all, I'm so glad that college football is officially back. Obviously, it started last week, but we only had 4 games. But now it is really, really, really back. And I'm super excited because of that. Again, y'all, like I said at the start of this live stream, I'm getting ready to watch this Colorado and Colorado and North Dakota State game. Again, if you are a person that likes defense, hey, go watch Minnesota and USC. And I like, defense, but y'all, I'm not going to be watching Minnesota and UNC. Of course, I got to watch my man Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes and Shador and Travis Hunter and the rest of the crew. Again, having to win that game 41-24. Anybody has any questions or comments at this time, please drop them now because obviously this Colorado game is coming on in about 30 minutes. And like I told y'all, I will be watching that game. But I know y'all probably excited like me that college football is back, man. Y'all, this is a great time to be a sports fan. College football is back. WNBA, we're getting real close to the playoffs starting for them. We got NFL returning next week. And then, late October, y'all, we got the NBA. And, in college basketball, particularly women's college basketball starting up again. So this is like, I always say, this is like the best time to be a sports fan because we just have everything just really going on, all the action going on right now. And I cannot wait to be here to give y'all all the coverage, as best I can of everything that's going to transpire. Also, y'all, before I get up out of here, before I got on here, the 49ers have finally ended the whole Brandon Ayuk drama, y'all. They've signed Brandon Ayuk to a 4-year, $120 million deal. So let's give a shout out to my man Brandon. Yeah, well deserved, man. Brandon Ayuk is a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL, and the 49ers absolutely had to get this done, y'all. I know some people felt like they could afford to trade him because they just drafted Ricky Pearsall. Y'all, Ricky Pearsall hadn't even played really for the 49ers at all. He barely participated in training camp, okay? So we don't know if he's ever going to be a good player. I didn't even like when they drafted him because I feel like they reached for him. They could have drafted Xavier Legette. But anyways, y'all, just want to give y'all that news that Brandon Ayuk has signed a 4-year, $120 million deal with the San Francisco 49ers. Again, finally ending this saga. Man, I mean, it was ridiculous. I'm really surprised the 49ers didn't get him locked down, before CD and the Dallas Cowboys agreed on a contract extension. But luckily, y'all, I mean, $30 million a year, it's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. So, yeah, they got it done. Yeah, about time. I know, man. It's about time. I mean, my goodness, I don't know what took them so long. That's really funny. That is really, really, really funny what y'all said about time. Yeah, it's definitely was about time. Well, y'all, if no one has anything else to add, this was another episode of Zabelon Sports Podcast. Remember, y'all, laughter is good medicine. So what? Make sure you get that daily dose. Y'all know I'm an internet man. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.